Star Trek Strange New Worlds Episode 9. Okay. If you were to tell me in 2022 I would be super amped for an episode of Star Trek based on the characters from the pilot of Star Trek that never properly aired, that was doing an homage to classic science fiction films that came out after the original Star Trek, based on one of my favorite villains in Star Trek, the Gorn, I would tell you, did somebody make something specifically catered to me? Because OMG, as the kids say these days, this episode of Star Trek is literally made for me. This was exactly what I wasn't expecting the show to do, but they did it. I'm like, oh my god, they did it. They really did it. From the beginning of this episode right until the very end, it's an alien homage. I can't believe that. It makes so much sense for this kind of a story to do that to a downed Enterprise ship or just like a downed Starfleet ship. These people coming together to find this thing. It's brilliant. So the setup to this episode, we kind of have to break up our crew into two things. A lot of our ensigns are just kind of graduating to the next level. We promote one guy to a lieutenant, and we have Uhura and another one. And they're just kind of I don't know if I'm going to stay here. Uhura's really set on I might be leaving. I don't know yet. Probably going to go. But they get this call. They literally have to break up the crew into two things, because the Enterprise is already on a primary alert thing where they have to deliver these crystals. Now it's we found a downed ship that received a message a while ago and we just got it. You guys have to check it out. So we split up the crew into two. We pretty much just leave Ortega and Una Chin Riley on the ship. Everyone else comes down to this planet, and when we get down to the planet, it's just alien. It's just alien. The crew literally has the lights on their shoulders reflecting off. You can kind of see it behind me right here. Well, not really there. On the other side of this, the figures right here from NECA of Alien, I have the Nostromo suits, and you can see just the idea of carrying the lights on you is straight up from that movie. And they have the lights on them. They find this downed ship. Not even downed, it's just frozen over. The crew is dead. A crew of 99, they said. There's only one survivor. And there's something killing them. And you're okay, what is the thing killing them? And here's what's happening. We're doing both Alien and Aliens, because we have Newt show up. That's right. We have our little girl who is a part of this team now. And we're protecting her as she's the only survivor of the ship. And what's really happening is after we find this man named Buckley, who's the only other alien on this ship. He is starting to get sick. And shit bursts from his chest. It's literally a chest burster appearing out of his body. And the little creature is just growing larger and larger throughout the course of the time allotted to the story. It is Alien. It's a xenomorph. They're chasing a xenomorph. And comparing the Gorn to a xenomorph is not something I would have expected or thought about. But now that you say it, okay, I can get behind that. And again, these are the infant style of the Gorn. They're not the big bulky ones from the original series. So yeah, cool. See what's the lanky little creature lizard things running around. And this just puts everyone on edge. And what I love about that too is everybody else is on edge in ways that relate to their character, because when Mbenga finds the girl, he accidentally calls her his daughter. When you see Leon freaking out oh, there might be Gorn eggs laying inside these people, she is responding oh shit, we have to lock this shit down. You see Uhura and Hemmer kind of having this you need to build the connection for yourself, because you gotta find your community, you gotta find your people. And Hemmer's I found it here, and I know what my purpose is gonna be. It's dying for the ones I love. And we'll get back to that in a bit here. And Uhura is just I don't know what's going on, but I don't know if I like it. And that's all really good stuff. And there's this other kind of subplot of Spock wanting to use his emotions. And you see him talking to Chapel kind of near the beginning. And she's it's okay to get angry sometimes, just letting that all out. Very interesting, intense moment. Of course, the 2 crew members that we don't name, they're the ones that die. So Duke is this new guy that just got promoted. He gets killed. Of course he does. We don't know him. He's going to die. And then the other ensign that was kind of with her, I think her name's like Gia, she also dies. Of course, you got to kill off the ones you don't know, and I get that completely. And then it's Sam Kirk, who's kind of freaking out at everybody. He's like a loose cannon just ready to burst at any moment, and he's just about to pop and kill everything, and he's just a mess. And it's very intense, but I genuinely like it. Because we're going to see that Kirk. Then when James comes in, we're going to be like, oh, this guy gets it. I cannot wait for that. Oh, man, I cannot wait to see what that's going to be. But we'll leave it from there. Like, the thing is, this was not only just shot to tell the story of Alien, it's like, here's the camera beats. POV shots of the aliens, like, the Gorn running around. We're going to do, like, creep shots where, like, hiding behind, like, crates and cargo stuff, peering at the people. We got thermal vision, like Predator, man. I'm like, that is so cool. And it looked so good. It looked very video game-esque, where it's like the outline of the person in like yellow and it's just like the blue lines just like pushing forward. I'm like, that looked really cool. I really dug that. That design, whoever came up with that design, like that was amazing. Because it just looks so sharp and crisp and clean. I like that. Also, now we have to come up with like a plan as how are we going to defeat these things? Because they're laying eggs in people. They're doing like the venom acid spit thing where if you get like them on you get acid. But we learned that their actual spit is kind of just like how they reproduce and lay eggs. And you're like, oh, that's really fucked up. But okay, kind of cool. They also can't really handle the cold. And since we're on a cold planet, they have to stay on the ship. So we have to figure out how to like trap them and bait them into certain situations so we can freeze them off and kill them. And because they're the Gorn, they're going to start killing each other for survival. This leads to some really great moments that I enjoy to see. There's one scene where Uhura is running down a hallway because she's leading one of them into the trap. There is this scene where Spock realizes he has to get angry, and Ethan Peck's doing fantastic work. Like, he is just getting angrier and louder than I think anybody would be expecting, and oh, is it good to see the way he's just shooting into the air ducts and the vents. I'm like, this is brilliant. I am really liking what you are doing with this character and with this interpretation of Spock. Just the repressed emotion bursting out, and he can't stop. So when like Kirk comes to like tap him on the shoulder, he still can't snap out of it. He's gonna hit them. But what really surprised me more than anything was the brilliant way they handled the chase scene with Leon, because this was the one you had to do. She is the character with the most connection to the Gorn. She's the one that has to have this victory. When she is running down the hallway, it bursts out behind her. She gets into the capsule. And this is where we like fully see the creature of like this adolescent Gorn. It does look xenomorphy mixed with like, you know, the aliens from like Land of the Lost and stuff. I'm like, this is a great design. Do I prefer just like the bulky husk of like rubber that was the original one? Yeah, because put a loincloth on a lizard, it's awesome. But I love seeing that. It's like the intensity of it breaking in the glass of the capsule she's inside, and like Hemmer has to like drop the like, was it the, I don't remember what they called it, but just like the freezing stuff that freezes the Gorn right next to her, and like just the cathartic release of her breaking the frozen thing. Oh, that looked great. And I'm like, this is the thing that I'm genuinely impressed by with this show, because it's handling it better than I think other Star Trek shows have before. Maybe it's because we have a bigger budget and our designs look crisper. They look more like Alien the movie than they do like the original series. The way we can just go from like last week being this really dumb fable story to we're doing a horror parody. It's not even a parody. It's just a pastiche of like, this is it, man. We're doing Alien. Look at how gross we are. Look at the camera movements we are using. Look at the actual references to like the xenomorph baby design and the chest bursting stuff. Like, that's it. We're doing it. You're understanding that we're doing this, and you're seeing it and you're living it. And they do it. I'm like, wow, that's kind of brilliant that the show is able to find the balance between the two very well. But it's not all an easy victory. It does come at a sacrifice, not from the unnamed characters that we don't really give a shit about, but because of the venom that got on him, Hemmer has to make the ultimate sacrifice. He says his goodbye to everybody. He says, live long and prosper to Spock, and he tells Uhura, find the people you love and you will be more happy than you will be sad. And he walks out the ship, jumps off a cliff. I'm like, oh. I'm of two thoughts on this. Kind of like, I get it. That was a great moment that I think was just the perfectly emotional impact for this show. And then a part of me is just like, you had to kill the only alien-looking alien on the show. Now it's just going to be a bunch of dudes. I'm like, okay, I get it. The impact was there. There's a lot of just like energy distilled into that scene that really worked, and this like the impact of that was really great to see. I did enjoy that. Hemmer was a really fantastically written character. It exceeded my expectation, just becoming something completely original and fully himself. Just being able to joke at the world and joke about his own identity. I thought that was a really interesting, just like ploy they pulled for him. So that was really fun. Very cool. And emotional impact, saves the ship from the Gorns once again. Very cool. It does end on some really nice moments where we have the funeral send-off for them. Nurse Chapel kind of calms Spock down into finding his cool again. They embrace, and you see he's wanting to kiss her, but he doesn't, and she's waiting for it, and she doesn't get it, and you're like, ooh, that's a moment we should explore more, and I hope we do. I don't know if we need them to kiss again, but I feel like they should at least have more, like, forced romantic connections to kind of, like, build up, like, the maybe one-sided relationship between one or the other. And we end the episode with Uhura looking at the seat that's going to be hers very soon. I don't think we're losing Uhura. We just lost Hemmer. She's probably going to be sticking around for a bit. Besides, 3 new slots just opened up on the Enterprise. I wonder who's going to fill them. Probably Ensign James T. Kirk is going to fill it. I could see a young Montgomery Scott coming aboard the ship. So, okay. Excited to see what we're doing here. There is something to be said about like setting it up for the finale to introduce like Scotty or Kirk, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Also, Leanne's going to be stepping aside for a second. I think she'll be coming back sooner than later because, of course, she has probably been the standout character of this season for me. Just a fantastically introduced performance and a great story for her. This episode exceeded my expectations. It was a great idea of like horror distilled into a prestige of alien. The tension was great. The cinematography was great. The lighting was great. Everything worked in this episode that needed to. It made for some great stories, made for some great fun. I really dug what this was doing. We got one more left this season. I can't think of a way they're going to top this one. But let's see what they do. It could be very cool. I think they'll find something special. So that's going to do it for this review of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Now, thank you guys for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.